on my end. Audio works.
Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first AR or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am joined by my co-host, Garth. Over.
Hey, how we doing? Does it sound tin canny still?
Now it sounds better.
All right, cool. I think I fixed it. All right, we're good.
All right, and tonight we are joined by our very special guest. We have Aaron from SLNT. I think is how you're supposed to say it. The company's SLNT, but in my troglodyte brain, that means silent.
You nailed it.
Perfect.
All right. So we do have a guest. He was going to join us a week ago, but had some illness run through. So instead, you got to listen to Garth and I, blather on about some other stuff. And tonight, you will have Aaron joining us to talk about all the things from the company SLNT, which is going to kind of touch more on that preparedness space that we've been talking about every now and then. Just because, well, the world is an uncertain place. And beyond that, there are times when you might not want signals to come into your device or your device to send signals out. And one of the best ways to do that is with something called a Faraday cage or Faraday bag.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, these guys are the experts on it. So, Aaron, why don't you tell us a little bit first about yourself, and then let's get into the company.
Sure. Hey, thanks for having me on, Dooley. Garth, this is awesome. Yeah. Any opportunity to talk about SLNT, which is now become my life's work, I jump on it. So good stuff. So SLNT was, first about myself. I grew up in Northern California in Santa Cruz, coastal town, awesome place. It's changed a lot since, but I went to school in San Diego and studied marketing, did a lot with my life at a younger age, but found myself wanting to try something a little bit riskier, tap into my entrepreneurial spirit. And SLNT was something that was originally conceptualized and kind of birthed out of my father's brain as mobile technology became much more integrated into everyone's lives. He kind of foresaw, hey, this is going to be there's going to be some problems around this. That's kind of the genesis of the beginning of the story. Happy to keep going if you want.
Oh no, by all means, let's keep going with it. So this is
cool.
Tell me more.
Yeah, tell me more. Well, we'll peel the onion slowly. 1998, my father Randy, he's had a great background in like inventing things, and he was in textiles and had done a lot as well, kind of a jack of all trades. But he took some material and cloaked his Motorola phone, called it from a landline, and didn't ring. I'm witnessing this as a middle schooler, and I just have no concept of why. All his network, his friends are like, you're building a Faraday cage for phones. Like, you're paranoid. What are you worried about? And from my dad's perspective, he has great foresight and saw that there's going to be an electronic leash attached to him. He's going to be able to locate it and be pinged at any point, which at, the late 90s is like, okay, why would you even think about that? This is great tech. It's going to become convenient. Flash forward to 2008, 2009, he decided to give it a go and did a large sample run, small production run, and created what he called the SLNT Pocket, which was a small little sleeve that you encapsulated your phone, and you drop your phone inside there, and it blocks cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, RFID, NFC, EMP. So it became this little textile product that was kind of a, ace in the hole, quite a little weapon to have on hand to be able to have real control over when and how you connected to the grid. we're talking now, it's 2024. A lot has changed in our lives, and it's pretty freaking daunting. But yeah, it was a fun evolution. He started that, and I witnessed it from like a different perspective. I was in a sales role. And then in 2011, I was fed up with what I was doing, and left that career and job and joined him to really like give it a go. And it took me a bit to understand the need and the why around the products, but it wasn't shortly thereafter that each year something kind of significant happened in our lives, with a corporate overreach or government overreach or whistleblowers exposing things that we probably already were thinking about, and just like year after year. So it grew organically, and I rebranded it, brought it to market properly, and flash forward, we got over 100 different products. They're all designed with the same core concept of privacy, security, and health, but they're wrapped up in really sleek, like phone cases, laptop sleeves, tablet sleeves, pouches for your keys, backpacks, waterproof stuff, submersible bags, and a big array of more tactical, military focused products and use cases. So we run all over the gamut.
No, it's I know the first time I kind of became familiar with, it wasn't your guys' brand, I don't think, but the first time I remember kind of coming in contact with why it was such a good idea to have some of these smaller Faraday bags was actually, I saw a Faraday wallet, like a money clip wallet, just because it was right when they started doing all the tap to touch pay.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, oh no, I can just have this. And which, granted, my cards do it. It's super convenient. It's super awesome. Luckily I live in a part of the world where there are no other people, so I don't have to worry about somebody with a skimmer coming by and touching my, like, oh, hey, and picking this up. And, granted, people say, oh, well, it's not really that easy, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
And it was, oh man, that's actually something that you might want to look into. And now, like you said, the things that you use these bags for, like, when we traveled, well, when we met you guys at SHOT Show, we went to range day and I Turoed a car, and used the Turo rental service, and it came with a Faraday bag for the keys. I actually think it was even a silent branded one that the guy had.
Good man.
And it was, oh, well, you put the key fob in it because how else are you supposed to lock your keys in your car?
Yeah,
Because
there's definitely some smaller use cases, like leaving keys behind or rental cars, and you're going in the ocean or surfing. I grew up surfing. It's like, where do you put your key fob? What you had mentioned there, and plus, the RFID blocking wallet, those are two really good use cases because it allows people to acknowledge why blocking signal in two different scenarios would be important. And that's kind of like the tip of the iceberg, in a sense of like, here's these two use cases. They will hurt you financially in the long run by either getting your car stolen or your identity stolen or your finances. And it's really inexpensive products that could help give you peace of mind and actually protect that. And then if you go below the surface, when we're talking about blocking cellular and Wi-Fi and everything like that, it really exposes some real truths around the vulnerabilities with your phone, your laptop, and like what you're actually putting out there, and what can happen. So we're not about fear mongering at all, but there's some like very real realities that everyone faces these days.
Well, what's that old saying? Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you.
Yeah.
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 And that's a truth. I know, coming from the military side of it, I've been in many a room where there are boxes outside, lock boxes where it's any electronic device you have, including down to like digital watches. Like, nope, these have to get left out here. So, when they get put into a a large, locker that's all Faraday bags or a giant Faraday cage, and then you go into the secure rooms and okay, hey, and it's for data security.
Yeah,
And,
double protection for you and for the military.
Yep, and that is very much so things that people don't think about, because I don't know if anyone has, granted we're all talking, now on computers or iPhones or something like that, but if you haven't seen how easy it is to turn on a webcam, it is ridiculously easy to remote turn on a webcam.
Yeah, there's even websites where you could go just tap in and view all the open network webcams that people aren't even aware of, that the password's set at like 0000. It's like, it's pretty nuts out there. As a company, we do internal trainings, and we've done some signal management training, so we could better serve the warfighter and understand their needs from becoming undetectable in scenarios. So we learn kind of what they learn, and it's really enlightening. So for a general civilian, it's like maybe you're not at the same like heightened vulnerability for like your livelihood, but in a sense you kind of are. So it's if you love freedom, then you should get some silent products, is what I like to say lately.
Well, I'm in 100% agreement with that, because if you don't think your phone's listening to you, have a conversation, then open up Instagram and see what ads are having.
Well, exactly. It doesn't take much of anything to have a conversation, and then every ad you ever talked about in the last 30 minutes is showing up between Spotify, iTunes, Facebook, Instagram. They all have those key phrases they're waiting to hear, and all of a sudden, it's in a radio ad that you're listening to on internet radio, or it's a pop up through Instagram. It's insane how much they actually are listening, and we just don't care anymore because we enjoy convenience over freedom.
Nailed it. Convenience over freedom. Convenience will, at this point in life, probably win more often times than not.
Well, how many people actually read those end user agreements from Apple and
No one. A few people on Twitter that maybe run it through AI and pull out the scary stuff. But yeah, and what you said, Garth, I mean, as far as listening, it's listening to the actual audio, but it's listening to all the data points that we feed the system.
Yep.
So the pattern of life and the predictability around what we're going to do next or what we might want, like these models know more about us than we know about ourselves. So if you could cut off giving more real data by use of, encrypted communication or security and privacy focused softwares or alternatives to like the norm, plus like Faraday bags and those type of things, then you could slowly regain some of your civil liberties and freedom and stop feeding the system. So that's like a macro level view that I like to think about. It's like, you might not feel the pain right away, but at some point you will.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of when, or if, it's a matter of when. So if you could take the incremental steps to start making change, which I know you guys are about, like, then you could get to a place, and it might take a little while, but then you'll be like, damn, I got some amazing peace of mind. And I actually put tools in place that protect myself, my family, my business. So I think it goes right in line with,
Yeah. Oh, very much so. Actually, I just got a text message from a friend of ours who also has a show on the network. And he asked if you guys are going to come out with a car skin anytime soon.
I mean, right now, currently, we sell like bulk material because we understand there's quite a few DIY applications. So you can certainly buy our material and outfit your garage or make something yourself. But we made some things for the military that aren't available commercially that are in line with that, like directional shielding and things of that sort. But there's a lot of products we can make. as a business, we have to be quite critical on building the business case and not following all our dreams. I'm sure you guys in your world, you could get
very much so.
Yep.
A lot of distractions out there. So we're trying to grow and become massive and do our thing. So we love feedback. We love input. So I'm not saying no to that idea by any means, but it's not currently on our roadmap.
But you guys do source, like you said, source material if people were wanting to do their own do-it-yourself projects and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The material is called multi-shield. So our product's kind of the brand structure is Silent is the overarching brand. Silent Pocket designates our patented closure systems and Faraday cages, and then multi-shield's the material that we use in corporation with that.
Even down to tape.
Yep, there you go. Yep, we got tape, and so you want to, we talk. You mentioned, EMP and preparedness and like that. Like that is a lot of our products can be used for in the event situations. Like you just scrolled over, but like backup generators and are just one up from there.
Generator
for solar powers or generators, like big solar flare, things that are looming, you could utilize these products to have protection over your electronics, which is really not for the fringe anymore. It's for the masses. I've seen the adoption of this mindset to regular people that were,
well,
kind of near my life, but
say 20 years ago it was what Faraday cage? Like I'd heard about that, and then it's you see it in a movie, and it's the NSA office is actually a Faraday cage. The whole building is, and then then it was 5 years ago. Oh, you want to get a Faraday bag? Like, why do you want to get a Faraday? Like, what do you need this for in your house? What are you trying to hide?
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's like, man, I need like a stack of 20 of these things.
Yeah.
Like when you walk in the house, hey, just drop your phone in the bag. And
yeah, that's a good point. It's the conversations have changed a lot. I'm close to the subject, obviously, but I, have regular people in my life too that are just kind of like think everything's all groovy, nothing to worry about. But the products are becoming quite relevant because what's the alternative? Alternative is you have absolutely zero means to block any signal to your devices. You're not taking the power source out, can't take the battery out, turning it on silent or airplane mode don't solve the problem at all. It's still pinging and receiving information. So, you flash forward to another 5 years, the amount of like overreaching surveillance that we have that's already happening and it globally, you're going to have a face mask for facial recognition. You have to have multiple Faraday bags and clothing. It's going to be some real sci-fi shit happening.
Yeah, I've even seen like scarves and stuff that use a pattern that breaks up digital recognition.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where it's just a pattern that confuses digital cameras.
Mm-hmm.
And also the guy who sent that says you've been on his show before. That was Marty from Talking Lead.
Oh, what's up, Marty? That's awesome. Good man. Yeah, met him at SHOT Show. We did a rapid fire show in the booth. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good friend of ours. So I've known him for a lot of years.
Awesome. Yep. Haven't seen him in a few years, but tell him I said what's up.
I will.
No, actually, you bring up a solid point with, what your bags can do with everything. Like you mentioned solar flares, and it might seem a little conspiracy theorist of me to bring it up, but we've got this eclipse coming up on the 8th. Now, I think it'll just be another Monday. That day will come and go. But, there's people out there that are a little concerned about it. I mean, obviously, they're assembling the National Guard in certain states, and they're bringing scientists in and stuff. And, again, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow about the whole thing. But it seems like if the government's paying attention, we might want to pay attention,
That'd be a first. But, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think there's a lot of hype around it, and we shall see. We've definitely seen an increase in customer service and people buying our products. Whether it's the solar eclipse that prompts you to start thinking about the if and when down the road, the reality of like an actual high elevation electromagnetic pulse from nuclear warhead or a directed energy weapon or another solar flare, that's happening in our lifetime 100%. So
Yes,
if this like small moment is what prompts you to like change your thought, or actually like check out at cart, you know, and like buy the stuff that you've been thinking about, then just go ahead and do it. There's like no better time.
Yep. And Marty is watching right now, so he was like, "Word up, bud!" But, he's watching live on Rumble. He did have this question though, just because I don't always see the notifications pop up from Rumble for chats. So he texted me, "Would this product be or protect your vehicle from an EMP attack, or how would the vehicle need to be shielded to be effective? Is it something have to be completely wrapped, or would it be able to just be like the CPU?"
So we don't make them, but there are some companies that make. There's one called EMP Shield. I'll just give them a shout out. They're good guys, but they make products that could be adapted to your car. So that's one step in terms of like you would ideally want to park your car in an entire Faraday cage, including the ground. So if you have an environment, Marty, where you could buy a 30 square meter roll of our material and start lining it, all of the testing around that material is rated and it exceeds the military standards around EMP. And we've also done testing at White Sands Missile Range, and it showed efficacy to block an E1 EMP blast. So within an EMP, there's E1, E2, E3. The one to worry about is the E1. It's the sharpest, biggest spike. And we passed that. So subsequently, the E2 and the E3, like a solar flare type of thing, is protected as well. So I don't know how many you want to buy. We'll make something for you if the MOQ is high enough.
Yeah, and Thomas was talking about the book series 1 second after, which pushes that through.
Oh, Marty, yeah, good novel.
Marty was just saying he is due for a new lead sled wrap.
Oh.
We might be able to. We'll get in contact with you later, Marty. We'll make something happen.
You bet.
So, no, those are a couple of things. I know I was interested just for the generator bags and some of those things, because it's, again, there's a lot of stuff that can happen, and I sound like somebody's grandpa here with all the old sayings. An ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure. So, having a little bit of capability to do that is a great thing to have. But, I know right now a lot of people are focusing on, EMP and those types of things. And we talked a little bit about signals getting in and out and those types of things. They're solar flares. For anyone who didn't know or hadn't been tracking, solar flares are a thing, and that's a massive burst of solar radiation that can affect. Well, we've had them affect communications this year, they said.
Yep.
The powers that be have said that there's been some solar activity that has affected the cellular communication network. And they are predicting that there's going to be another major one.
Yeah.
At some point. And those are things that we really can't predict or look at or, tell when it's going to happen, because it's a storm on the sun. And when you have pissed off the sun enough where it spits at you, you're really doing something wrong. But that's pretty much.
We're in the 100-year cycle though, so we're in the window to be due. Yep. And
the last major one was called the Carrington event.
Correct.
Or coronal mass ejection, or CME, but the Carrington event. And that was so aggressive that it actually melted telegram wires on the poles throughout the nation. It was just we didn't have a lot of electrical infrastructure at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what year that was that happened. But that is a natural disaster that can happen, and we are technically due for. So,
yeah, and we clearly have a lot more circuitry at this point in our lives. And just to mention it's definitely been in the news, and it's of concern, I think, for America as a whole. But our critical infrastructure is all outdated, and
it's held together with duct tape and baling wire.
Yeah. 1859 was the year.
Okay, there you go. I could hear furious Googling in the back.
I mean, if we only had these handheld devices in our hands, or yeah.
Yep. Well, when you're talking about the age, America's infrastructure and the age of it, realize that there are wires hanging in New England today that Edison hung.
Yeah.
Like, when Westinghouse put up, that was all these things. They're over 100 years old and still hanging, and being used today. If you live in the western side of the country, like I know people who, I've met people who remember getting power ran to their house, like for the very first time.
Amazing.
And it's, oh yeah, I've got that. So we think of things like, oh yeah, that's 50 years old. That's kind of old power. But in reality, compared to what they have, it's like that's almost the bleeding edge of what we have for technology compared to what they have everywhere else. And it's, adapter kit and everything's been slammed together. It is very easy to see how a electrical surge could produce a lot of disastrous effect for the infrastructure.
Yeah, to be concerned about, so I gotta prep for yourself.
Yep.
You don't have to have the whole thing figured out, you just have to start chipping away at it.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where I'm not saying, well, obviously Aaron's going, no, guys, come and buy one of everything on the website.
Yeah, can't you hear me? I'm telling you to go there now.
Yes. Go to slnt.com and buy collection all, one of everything. And
that'd be so hilarious if there was a buy all, check out now for every single product. I'm gonna do that.
Just if somebody does it, like, just a taste, right? Just
yeah.
But no, so these are things, guys. The other thing that I want to talk about is we've talked a little bit about the how and the why, but I'll pull some of this up as we go through and are talking about this. But we've been talking about Faraday bags and showing you like, oh, they've got generator bags and stuff like that. But it's not all just like, it doesn't make you look like a crazy person when you're wearing some of this. It's actually fairly stylish because they have, backpacks that just look like a backpack.
Yep.
But it in fact is a Faraday bag. So I'll pull one of those up now. And these are things where it's, if you want to like, hey, I kind of feel like I might like this, or if you have a job where you have sensitive information, on your laptop, but you have to travel with it, you get one of these and it doesn't scream, hey, I'm carrying really important stuff. You just look like another guy with a backpack on.
Yeah, this is the one you stumbled on. The E3 Faraday backpack is one of our best-selling, awesome backpacks, a part of a collection, but all recycled materials on the outside, bunch of dedicated compartments, and then you have 2 clip-in removable Faraday sleeves, one for a phone, one for a laptop. So you're not looking strange. You're actually looking quite sleek and modern. You could see our very blacked out, subtle branding. This backpack rules. So, yeah, whatever suits your preference. But yeah, I think a lot of we want to normalize the use of signal blocking products like Faraday cages and Faraday sleeves. And that's what we're promoting. Like, aesthetics and style and functionality are really important to us. And then we have quite a few patents around the signal blocking, and the difference is we can make products that are really thin, integrated, so it doesn't feel cumbersome. It's relatively effortless to adopt these type of products in your life. Like when you put your laptop somewhere, why wouldn't you put it in a Faraday sleeve for extra peace of mind? Like won't connect to Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, can't be located. When you close it, it's not off by any means.
Yeah. So here's the insert that you're talking about, where you have a backpack insert. And
yeah, that one goes. That insert goes directly into. There should actually be a picture of the backpack it goes into, but it goes into the dry bag, which is pretty awesome. So you're getting a waterproof, signal-proof backpack, one big cavity. That's the Faraday dry bag.
Right there, this one.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then you
blue.
put the insert in, and it kind of boxes it out, and it gives it some structure, and then you get those compartments. So if you're someone that's like, cool, I want to break down my gun, put my laptop, everything else, and have it waterproof, signal-proof. You could put night vision in there. You could just add whatever you want inside that bag. So it's really simplified, and that's one of our best sellers too. People really like it.
Yeah, I see, it's like I said, I'm going to have to order a handful more. I have some already, and going to have to order some more. I know that Marty was texting me again, and he said that he uses the cell phone sleeve all the time.
Awesome.
It's, you drop it in and yep, you've got it. I know that, I have them, and I've been telling people to wear them.
Yeah, it's a handy little tool to have on.
Is there a compartment for a TV remote?
Oh, is that a comment? Yeah. I mean, we have products that could fit a TV remote. I don't know what type of TV you're operating, but must be a high-powered one.
Oh, actually, we just had another great question pop up. What are the rules for Faraday devices when flying?
Awesome question. No one knows that you have these products. They scan like a normal textile. They're not blocking X-ray. They don't emit any signal. They're passive technology, so it's based on all the materials used. I always leave my devices inside their cases, and I've never been asked to take it out once through customs or TSA. So great use case within an airport. Those big white empty corridors that you walk down, what's behind those walls is alarming. So whether you're in your own country or a foreign country, you're still very vulnerable and just getting harvested.
I can tell you what's behind some of the stuff behind one of those walls.
Yeah.
I once we were for the guard, we were doing a shooting competition, had to fly home after we shot. So we were tight on what we were using, and I'd been using my backpack as my range bag all week and shooting off of it.
There you go.
So it was just covered in carbon, and they had just installed explosive sniffers in the airport. So I walk through airport security, and I make it 10, 15 yards past, and all of a sudden there's lights and claxtons and everything's going off, saying explosives. Oh, that's me. Which is really fun to explain, but I've seen that. You'd be amazed what's behind there.
Yeah, no doubt. That's for protection, right? But it's really just mass surveillance, and then they just crunch the data. So yeah, entering and exiting countries or going through security, great spot, great time to use a Faraday sleeve. Chuck it in there. Don't worry about any of that.
So is there anywhere that is illegal to have Faraday bags?
Good question. I imagine there's some overreaching countries within the Middle East or Asia that would have a problem with someone trying to mask their location.
Well, I don't travel to those places for fun.
Fair enough. The cool thing about them, they're relatively undetectable. they kind of blend in plain sight. So that's why we're always been about like our mute, very subtle branding. Like we don't want, like, I guess as we grow as a brand, SLNT might be recognized as said product that blocks wireless signal, but we also launched the Incognito backpack made in the USA. I think you had it up before, but there's no external branding at all. It's got 2 concealed carry compartments and then 2 dedicated Faraday bags on the inside. So I guess we're.
And then, like, you're talking about being subtle, like this Faraday sling bag that you guys have.
Yeah.
That actually, it's I'm going to call it what it is. It's an oversized fanny pack. And it looks like it's sharp looking.
This one's great. We just launched this. I mean, you might be familiar with Relv too. They're a great company that makes some really, really cool, like weaponized camouflages. They're very much in.
Yep, the Moab Faraday.
Yeah,
crossbody sling.
Yeah, so it's our little touch at a little more fashionable product, but it's badass. So you could conceal in that. You could on the back, the way that one's structured is you could drop your phone in to the middle, like on there. You could drop it into the Faraday compartment, or right behind it is just like a little sleeve, so your phone will ring. But given you have it on your body, it's not going to expose you to EMF radiation. So you get this cool product that has multiple functions to it.
Right. Actually, that's a great point you just brought up there. So with your products in your Faraday bag, obviously it's blocking signal. That means it's not transmitting all those signals that they claim are harmful to your body. I mean, I've been yelled at so many times for putting my phone in my front pocket up here. People say not to do that because phones obviously emit some sort of,
radiation.
Radiation out. Obviously, it's not good for the human health for that. So Faraday bags, in essence, are a help for that.
Absolutely, an actual science-backed help for that. So that's a pretty big growing topic that's been around for a long time. But whether you have if you have an iPhone or whatever, the U.S. government deems them safe to use within like a certain proximity to your body. So if you go into the legal clause of any of these phones, say it's Apple, RF exposure is a section under legal. You click that and it's based off SAR ratings. So those are specific absorption rate ratings. I mean, we have a really good write-up on our website about this, but these are outdated ratings from pretty much the 60s saying this is the tolerance level of what we have. And now we have these high-powered devices right near our bodies. So they're definitely they're like smoking cigarettes of our time. These things are going to give it a few more years, give it a decade, and it's going to be like, we held these things against our head. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So it's happening now, and I think it's really good to be aware of the proximity of your phone to your person, like on body. So our products allow you to actually slip away and block all that radiation to your body, which is great, especially for women. You think about women that run with their phone in their bra, or men that hold their phone in their pocket every single day. The cool thing about that crossbody is you could still have your phone ring, but block EMF radiation as well, or put it all the way inside and kill everything. So
yeah.
The EMF stuff's, there's bullshit companies that sell little pendants and stickers that say it harmonizes and neutralizes the field around you, so you're safe to use your laptop or your phone. That's just a bunch of woohoo stuff based off of design patents and geometric patterns and physiological responses. So when it comes down to like actually being able to mitigate radiation, you either need to not have it, or you need to have tools like a Faraday bag to kind of mitigate it. Like either of you probably wouldn't put a Wi-Fi router directly underneath where you're sitting, right?
No, probably not. No.
It's like, okay, that's kind of common sense. Like you won't want to like even stand right, put your head next to a microwave. Like all these things, just got to be aware of, especially for the youth, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's, I know I heard somebody else talking about this not long ago. And they're like, oh yeah, the microwave will protect you. And it's like, okay, well, think about all the times as a kid you press your face up against the microwave to look through the window. That really protects you. Okay, put your phone in it. Like, don't turn it on, but just put your phone in it and then have somebody else call it and see if it lights up and rings and tell me how much radiation that microwave door is actually stopping.
Yeah.
It's
good point. Yeah. I mean, it magically melts cheese. So
yeah, that's what I was. Oh, hey, we can do this. I'll admit it. I was guilty of it as a kid. You press your face in and look to watch the popcorn pop or the cheese melt. I know we've all done it.
For sure.
We do have another question that came in, and it was how accurate can a man-made EMP be?
Oh man, I mean, that's a pretty loaded question. I don't know the technical answers on that, but as far as like when we are involved with like the military and what we do for them, like some of their biggest threats is, it's electronic warfare, and that encompasses a lot, but man-made energy directed weapons are real and a thing. And as far as like a big EMP threat would be something exploding in the sky and affecting everything
on the ground.
Yeah.
It comes down like rain. So a high atmosphere or detonation of a nuclear warhead would probably cause something like that.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't happen in our lifetime.
But beyond that, when you get into the rest of it, there are some focused, ways to do it, because energy weapons, well, it's like they have ultrasonic ones that can almost make your blood feel like it's boiling. And, for doing crowd control and stuff like that we've seen deployed for riots, they can definitely shut down vehicles and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
There are close directed ones, but you generally have to be line of sight for that. Yeah,
there's the Havana syndrome too. If you've seen that, there's some.
Yeah, that is that what they've now have said. Oh yeah, that turns out that was the Russians.
Yeah,
which saying that's probably going to get us pulled from YouTube again.
You said the famous keywords.
Yeah, but don't worry, they're totally not listening.
No, not at all.
We have a name of the AR-15 podcast, and Garth picked up a gun a week ago and we got pulled from YouTube on our live stream almost instantly because they were amazed a gun podcast had a firearm.
Yeah.
But
you guys run into complications like often like that for just being like a podcast or?
We definitely are throttled on social media and everything like that. We're not the content they want to get out.
Yeah.
Which I say that is like, hey, come talk to us about this stuff. Oh yeah.
Well, thankfully we have a pretty awesome subscriber base that has kept us going for quite a while. I mean, somewhere around the neighborhood of 5,000, Nick.
I think we're at 5,500 now.
Yeah. So thank you guys for sticking with us and being here and getting to listen to all this great stuff. Like tonight with Silent and Aaron.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome, and we're super glad that you're on and took the time out to come talk to us and educate us about Faraday bags and why it is that people would want them. And again, I think it is super awesome that it's if you go through YouTube and you'll see stuff about like, oh, build your own Faraday cage, and it's a guy who's got like 2 trash cans. And, they're doing stuff like this. It's all right, yeah, but why do you have 2 trash cans and you're stuffing all this stuff inside of them? And it's using these galvanized metal trash cans. Or you could buy, one of these that actually, 1, looks good.
Yeah.
And 2 is functional. Because, again, it's way easier to, oh, no, I've got this. And this is just a little, oh, you're awful paranoid. Well, better be paranoid than not. And the rate that I'm seeing other people adopt this stuff, it's not the crazy people anymore. Now it's like you said, the everything has shifted. It's like at one point in time in the gun industry, ARs were looked at as this kind of wild, like, oh man, you're one of them AR guys. And now it is the most popular firearm in America.
Mm-hmm.
And you're kind of seeing the same thing go where it's, people are starting to realize if you want to have security and all of that, you have to take actions for yourself, because Big Brother is not always looking out for you.
Not going to show up when you need them. But yeah, to your point about, the 2 trash cans, which is pretty hilarious. Like if we just take social media comments, we get a lot of like, you could just use aluminum foil. You could use different materials, certainly to a certain extent. But the beauty about the materials that we use, they're actually tested and proven scientifically in a lab. Like you put aluminum foil, a few sheets of that, compared to our military standard testing, and it's going to fail miserably. So it might work in one environment. Maybe it works in your apartment somewhere and you're like, cool, you feel good. But it's like buying a waterproof bag with multiple holes in it. Like it's not really, it's not waterproof, So if you're going to do something, do it right. Like get all the way there. So that's what we offer, is refined, really thought out products that look good and work. And we've been doing it for 12 years now. So,
well, I'm glad someone's doing it, because actually, as soon as you guys said do it yourself project, I have a Serenity safe right here next to me that I tried to turn into the Faraday box with the tin foil. Had it wrapped perfectly, put a phone in there, called it, damn thing rang. So it's not as easy as you think. And obviously, there's a science and a technology behind it. And I'm happy that you guys have cornered that and are making money at doing that, because the thing is, yeah, some guy can go out and he can save some money and do it himself, but dang it, why chance it? If you're that into it and you actually believe this can, protect and serve a purpose in your life some way, why not just go to professionals like yourself and invest the money? Because that's what you're doing. You're investing your product, your money into keeping your future safe, basically. That's why I have several bags. That's why I'm going to purchase more bags.
Love you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. So one thing about it, and this is one of those where you're talking about, with technology and looking at this. So I'm going to read you a quote, and I want you to tell me what year you think it was that this was written. Aaron, you may have heard this one before, but the quote is, "The people will not revolt. They will not look up from their screens long enough to notice what was happening." Have you ever heard that before?
Were you talking to me?
I was going to say, have you heard that quote before?
No, I haven't.
So that quote was from 1949 or 1940. That was from the book 1984.
Makes sense. A lot of predictions made in that book.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be an instruction manual. That's when you get into some of that. That's where we're at, and taking a break from your devices is one thing, because I know this is something that I would say to challenge people to do at home, because it's something that we've done at my house, and now I might actually take it a step further, where it's when you're eating dinner or something with the family, everyone's got their phone and they put them on the table, and people be texting back and forth because everyone's busy and got stuff going on. So it's like, nope, no phones at the table. I know that Garth has gone out to meals with my wife, and she will routinely say that to everyone, like, hey, no phones at the table.
She yells at me all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
So,
it's true, man. It's like if you have your phone out, you're telling the other person that they're not worth paying attention to, while they're extremely distracting and they hijack your attention. And when you have it around, it makes sense that you want to check something because it feels justified. But yeah, I mean, I'm a father now, and like I have to be very mindful about my involvement with a phone near my family and in social settings. So yeah, if you can lead by example, typically it's great how powerful. I mean, empowering is it to not have a device on you? Like chuck that thing away and go an entire weekend, like come out the other end and be like, wow, that was great.
Yeah, that's one where I was like, we might start doing this. Okay, put them in the bag. Yeah, everybody puts them in because then you don't have, like have a dinner party, have people come over for drinks, watch TV, whatever, but throw your phone in the Faraday bag so nobody gets a notification. And then just, all right, well, when you leave, watch everybody's emails and phones just start blowing up. As they get 10,000 Snapchats and
true. There's a time and place for it. I like that one.
Yep, it's realize that spending time with a real human and interacting with them is irreplaceable. So that is something to kind of think about. There are other things that are replaceable, but they're almost as good as VZ grips. VZ grips are great because they're made from a solid block of G10, and G10 is amazing because it doesn't get slippery when covered with mud, blood, or sweat. The unique grip angle and 17-degree grip angle at that is made from a perfect texture for grabbing you to allow you to hold it better, getting more refined and better ergonomics. They have grip textures from mild to extreme. We all know which one Garth likes, and we know which ones I like. And you can find grip panels for almost all good handguns, my 1911s, my CZs, and my beloved Berettas. And with that, you can find the coupon code for 15% off all VZ grips, and that is AR-15 podcast.
I was wondering how you're going to work that one in this week. I was like, oh man, we haven't really talked about gun once yet, so
that's okay.
Nailed the ad read. I like it.
I can slide one of those into about any conversation if I have to. No, but Aaron, thank you so much for coming on. You have been a wealth of knowledge, and I hope people will look up your product and really start looking at it and thinking about them, because again, like when we get done, I'll be spending my money on some as well, just because I have a couple more that I'd like to get, and it is a super important thing to have, because information security is getting to be almost if not more important than physical security.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, if like you guys, clearly gun ownership is big. You guys, the name of your podcast, the AR-15 podcast. One of the conversation pieces that we're having at SHOT Show with a lot of people, you can be a badass. You could protect yourself from physical and seen threats, but what are you doing about protecting yourself against unseen threats? And the battlefront's really digitally. So buttoning that up kind of like rounds out how badass you are, in my opinion. So I think the mindset goes hand in hand with what you guys are promoting.
Well, appreciate that. Hey, Aaron, would you tell everyone out there listening where they can find you guys and all your socials and stuff like that for us?
Sure. Yeah. So it's SLNT.com. Everything's on there. On Instagram or Twitter or any socials, it's just @GO SLNT. So @Go Silent.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. No, that is great. Everyone make sure to check out their stuff. Look them up and order some products, guys. These, they're stylish and functional, I think is the big thing.
Yep. I agree.
It's from the dry bags, which I use dry bags a lot anyway. I love dry bags because I've had too many things get destroyed by water, and that's a thing for me. I also, the fact that you have locking ones as well. But, Garth, is there anywhere else they need to talk to for us today?
Come again? I was browsing the site and wasn't listening to a word you were saying.
That's normal. So, Garth, who else do they need to check out? Anyone else you'd like to tell them about?
Yeah, actually they do. They need to go out and check out patriotpatch.co, guys, for all your pop culture patches for the Patch of the Month Club, guys. If you join the Patch of the Month Club, you will receive a awesome patch that Jake and those guys select every month for a themed patch. We just had our Easter one come out, which was a Claymore. I think I have the sticker for it right here.
Claymore and a bunch of Easter eggs.
Yeah, you found me. Claymore with a bunch of Easter eggs, grenades.
This was the St. Patty's Day leprechaun with 2 submachine guns and nods. So, yeah, all luck, no skill. I think that should be Garth's motto for competition.
Is completely my motto for competition. So, yeah, go ahead and, guys, check out Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co.
And then, obviously you found us here. Find us on the social medias. We are AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on Instagram, AR-15 Podcast 2.0 at Gmail, AR-15 Podcast on Facebook and Rumble, and AR-15 Podcast 2 on Twitter, because we couldn't get any of the other ones.
No, it's not Twitter. It's X.
Oh, yeah, the artist formerly known as Twitter, X.
There you go.
So, Aaron, any final things you have tonight before we sign off?
Nah, this has been great. I think we covered a lot. Thanks for giving me a voice on this subject. I think it's extremely important, and we're here to support everyone listening. So appreciate you guys and what you're doing, and for the opportunity.
All right, thanks. We'll hit the outro, and then we'll talk to you a little bit after this. So,
all right,
and the rest of you folks out there, you stay safe and stay armed. Support the people who support the show. Primary Arms, VZ Grips, 4Patriots.com, and Patriot Patch Company. Be sure to check us out on social media. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on Instagram, AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on YouTube, AR-15 Podcast 2 on Twitter, AR-15 Podcast on Facebook, and wherever podcasts are found. If you just want to drop us a line, let us know how we're doing, or give us a show idea, make sure to send that email to AR-15podcast 2.0 at gmail.com.